Spinning wheel of death. Okay, we are live. It is go time for the Kevin Ogar roast. I'm your host, Shannon Ogar, aka the Walking Ogar. I'm here with Tommy Lee. His actual name, not stage name, Tommy Lee.
That's it.
That's it. That's all he's got.
That's real life.
Just for everybody watching, we have a bunch of people here at the gym who are standing by. And then currently we have one viewer on the interweb. So we're a big deal.
All right.
We're a big deal here. All right. Everybody on the interweb, you got to let me know if you can hear me. I know you can't see me yet. There's a very beautiful background that I made to explain why we're doing this. So the reason we're doing this is for Team Some Assembly Required. This is a nonprofit that helps assist athlete expenses in their hopes and dreams of competing. So veterans and adaptive athletes, this organization helps with those expenses. We are raising money to help support some athletes who want to compete at the Adaptive CrossFit Wheel WOD Games. Adaptive CrossFit Games by Wheel WOD. I'm going to get in trouble for that one. Adaptive CrossFit Games by Wheel WOD. We're supporting that organization and then raising money to help send some athletes to compete. In honor of that shameless plug, we have a commercial for you guys to watch. Just to, ads. You got to pay for the ad-free version. Donate to Team Some Assembly Required for the ad-free version. But this is going to be how I'm going to do this.
In the heart of every individual lies the drive to overcome, the need to break through barriers, to challenge oneself, to find that spark that lights the path to greatness. For adaptive athletes, this path is often strewn.
Everybody turn off your Wi-Fi immediately.
With unique challenges. But at WheelWOD, we see not obstacles, but opportunities. We're dedicated to making all forms of fitness accessible. To everyone. It's about breaking barriers, testing limits, and constantly evolving.
Seriously, turn off your Wi-Fi.
With every move, every rep, every drop of sweat, adapt.
Oh my gosh, it's almost done.
Brandon, you're supposed to use Chat GPT before.
That fitness is for all. An inspiring testament.
All right. Well, that was a little anticlimactic. It's a really good commercial, though, by the one and only Bruce Williams, who is present at the Adaptive CrossFit Wheel WOD Games by Wheel WOD. Gosh, I got to get that right. So that commercial is to promote the Adaptive CrossFit Wheel WOD Games, where we are raising money through Team Some Assembly Required to send athletes to compete. Team Some Assembly Required is also supporting some Paralympians and the National Veteran Wheelchair Games. So if you laugh at all, each laugh is going to be $1, and you got to donate that to Team Some Assembly Required. Them's the rules.
So it's like a swear jar for laughs?
Yeah, I like that.
I'm in.
Also, on that note, Kevin has a few rules for this roast. One being that it should be relatively family friendly. I appreciate that because my parents are in the audience right now and things could get weird. It's fine. The second rule that he told all the roasters is that they're not allowed to make fun of me He doesn't find that funny. I gave a few of them permission though that he doesn't know about. So sorry, babe. And then the last one is if you don't fill your time frame, you get roasted back. So we hand the microphone to Kevin, and he is gonna, well, not stand up for himself, but he's gonna try and roast you back. So them's the rules of the game. We have our first roaster backstage. We are 5 minutes early, but I just think he's got some things to say. So what do you say we get started?
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
Yeah. Is
Kevin?
the audience okay with it? Are we done eating? All
Okay with it?
right.
It's Big Hot. He's ready.
That means we need to get Kevin up here as well.
His knees are quaking. Not really. That's a lie.
It's a spasm.
It's a spasm, he said. All right, let me change this view so that you can see.
That's right, Kevin. Walk away. I mean, thanks for dressing up, Kev.
I just want to give a shout out to the yoga instructors here. I know a good friend of mine who is a yoga instructor. She just got promoted. She really stretched her limits.
Can we?
Okay. I guess I'm going to treat this like a sitcom and maybe do some laugh pauses, but we'll just make it work. Shan, you can hear me. Yes, confirm in the private chat. Oh, thanks, Kev. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start. Hello, everyone. As it says beneath, I knew Kevin first. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I have known Kevin since 2008 when he introduced me to CrossFit by yelling at me, berating me, and screaming at me and making fun of me. Our entire relationship is one of trauma bonding, as I expect many of you feel with Kevin. I take pride in knowing Kevin well before he decided to permanently skip leg day and got all famous. And it was back when he looked like a steroid-induced Conan O'Brien, not Joe Swanson from Family Guy. So I figured as the person who knew him earliest, I would share some fun early facts about Kevin. Back, when Kevin was bipedal, he hated when you were late, but had no concept of time itself when he was. That showed up more than once, just like his near translucent ass did when I went looking for him to come train. I'm still scarred, Kevin. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Kevin back then really only got angry at a few things. Things like Truman Bulldog rugby players and his own frustrations at overhead mobility. I think the overhead mobility piece is still there, but now he just gets more rage thinking about things like fluffernutter sandwiches in Orange County, California. I had to drop one in there. I still kept it PG. Hello? Am I not muted now? Okay. I have no clue where that left off. But where I was going was that I was supposed to be in California when Kevin's accident happened. But I wasn't. Interestingly enough, though, Kevin had no problem taking calls from me. I think he actually answered one of my first calls the day of the accident. He was still in the emergency room figuring things out. And he just kept taking my calls when I would call to check in on him, which was, amazing considering Kevin took calls on a first chance, which that's, I guess, something that changed afterwards. But on one of the phone calls that we had relatively recent, close to his accident, was that he'd be moving forward with his dream of working for CrossFit on the level 1 staff. And he said, quote, "It's like God has a plan for me," which I found deeply ironic because we always joked that God didn't consider gingers people. So figure that one out, Kevin. Now that Kevin's level 1 instructor, pioneer for adaptive athletes in CrossFit and Paralympics, and I want to say box owner adjacent, we all know that in most cases, Shannon does the work and Kevin gets to gloat about it. So I guess that's the relationship here. Kev, I would say you outkicked your coverage, but I'll just say that you married up. You've done a lot of growing, some of it down, some of it up since I've known you, but it's been in a great way. I love that so many people have gotten close enough to you that they truly understand your humor and how incredibly appropriate this roast is. Now I'll end my part, brief as it is, by saying that I hope the roast isn't anything like your standing CrossFit career, which was short and anticlimactic. That's me. He's laughing, so it's all good. Does he get to roast me now?
Yes, indeed. We get to go back and forth. Okay. I took notes.
Huh? Oh, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell him later.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell him later.
I can hear.
There we go. None. Can you hear me now? Yeah, there we go. This is working, although my picture is frozen, so that's good. We are experiencing technical difficulties. As you can probably guess, our many qualities are in the realm of fitness and not broadcasting. So, Kevin has a lot of good personality traits. Technology might not be one of them. I am going to take myself off stage so then we can introduce our next roaster. She has a leg up on every single one of you. Her name is Amy Bream. And she is gonna let you have it, Kevin.
Hello. I think maybe the sound issues might continue. I can't hear you, Kevin, but I'm assuming y'all can hear me. So I'm gonna just go. All right. So unlike Nate, you did great, by the way. Um, Unlike Nate, I am relatively new to meeting Kevin. I met him at the 2021 CrossFit Games, and I was new to the whole scene, didn't know really much of anything about the world of CrossFit at that point, and definitely didn't know faces, so I hadn't met Kevin. And I'll never forget when I first laid eyes on him, one of my first thoughts was, I am meeting a real live leprechaun. But, when we think of like leprechaun, we all see the resemblance. Let's be real, people. But the only difference is when I think leprechaun, I think, small, jolly, and light on their feet. So, I think we can all agree, Kevin, you have the shoulders of a gorilla, the temperament of a bear. And as far as being light on your feet, that joke's a little bit of low hanging fruit, but I'll let y'all figure that one out, okay? But let's be real, though. When we all meet Kevin, if you've known him for any amount of time, at some point you have noticed his legs. And when I say notice his legs, I mean, that they probably have never seen a single day in the sun. Okay? So, when people like use the term pale doesn't really cover it with this, okay? When people put sunscreen on and it gets really awkward if they don't blend it all the way in because it looks extra pasty, and then you have to be the one that's like, hey, you need to blend it in. You can need the sunscreen. You don't have to say that with Kevin, okay? His legs are the kind of pale that you don't even need to rub it in. In fact, if Kevin for any reason decided to start wearing foundation, Kevin, you wouldn't need to go to Sephora and get some fancy ass brand. All you need to do is go to Walmart aisle 12, okay? The Banana Boat SPF 50 for $8.99, perfect match. You're good. If anyone followed the social media post following tonight's event, you'll probably notice that Kevin talked a little bit of trash about me. The post showed him watching my Instagram videos, which is probably the biggest joke of all. We all know you don't watch my videos, okay? But he said something like, Amy, she's got one leg. That's not that impressive. If I had one working leg, I'd be in the NBA. Okay, Kevin. Newsflash, just because I can stand up doesn't mean that I was meant to play basketball. That's the equivalent of saying, well, if I was Kevin, I'd be a NASCAR driver. And I would tell you to, hey, give NASCAR a go, but I'm pretty sure your shoulders wouldn't fit through the driver's window. A lot of people look at Kevin and they think things like, dang, what a man who's defeating the odds, an inspiration. He's always overcoming, and we should put him in the top 1%. But you know what I think more people should point out more often? The cliches about Kevin, because Kevin's got a lot of cliches. For instance, y'all ever notice that literally you only ever see him post videos of him bench pressing? Like, we get it, dude. Okay? We know that your upper body is strong. Literally show us anything else but a bench press. Second cliche, his diet. Let's be real. Even if you don't know Kevin, you can look at him and probably assume this guy likes red meat. And I would tell you that that is in fact true. I've taken several trips with Shannon and Kevin. All right, we've eaten out a lot, and Kevin's even cooked dinner a few times. And let me be abundantly clear. This man is not a fan of veggies. Don't get me wrong, Kevin cooks a mean steak, but if you ever look over at his plate, not a vegetable in sight. So much so that one time we went to a local barbecue joint that's one of Kevin's favorites. And when it came time for us all to order, Kevin didn't even have to step up to the counter. Not that he ever steps up to any counter. But anyway, the dude just brought him out his order without Kevin even needing to order anything. He just knew what he wanted. And you know what his plate looked like? The biggest plate piled high of every meat that the barbecue joint had to offer. Nothing else. No other food group, just meat. And I've heard about the all meat diet, and I get it. I guess, there's some science, there's some reasoning behind it, but I'm personally not used to it. So on that particular trip, after seeing 3 days of him literally only consume anything but meat, I started feeling secondhand stress for you, Kevin. All right. It got to the point that if I saw a leaf on the ground, I thought about picking it up and shoving it into your hamburger just in case. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the next cliche. Kevin always looks pissed off. He's a redhead in a wheelchair. Of course, he's got anger issues. Once you get to know him, he's actually a pretty nice guy in certain circumstances. But before I really knew him, I was terrified. I saw him as some kind of pissed off drill sergeant. And anytime I had to ask him a question at a competition, I felt like I should end every convo with a salute and a, "Sir, yes, sir." But after you meet him, you just come to expect it. I'm pretty sure if Kevin ever rolled into a room with a big smile on his face and voluntarily said hello to everyone present, we would all know that something was off, like you were trying to butter us up before you rolled us over or something. But all of these things, Kevin, cliche or not, they make up you. Your beard and your biceps and your SPF colored skin. All together, it makes up the Kevin Ogar that we know and love. So I guess what I'm trying to say is thanks for being you. You're appreciated. And I especially appreciate you because you will always be one of the few people on this earth that I can outrun. Thanks. That was it. I can't hear anything, but I don't know if he can roast me back.
Oh, I'm going.
Oh, I can't hear.
Me, that was good. That was good. I do look angry all the time. Shannon completely always tells me to fix my face. But as long as the race is downhill, I am going to beat you in any foot race possible. That would be my leg up is downhill. Now, what do you call someone? This is for you, Amy. What do you call someone who cried on live stream that everyone saw forever and is immortalized there, and then gave everyone a lot of inspiration and strength to continue on through things that are freaking hard? Boom, gotcha, roasted.
Gotta love it.
That's so good. So good. Thank you, Amy. I think I found the problem with the audio. Surprise, surprise, it was user error. Amazing job. I knew Amy was a little nervous. I don't want to be on camera. I knew Amy was a little nervous to get up there, but those were all definitely knee slappers, the ones that we can feel. Absolutely. She didn't toe the line. Yeah, heart. So good. Thanks. Only if you have a mic. Yeah. All right, so we're going to go ahead and introduce our next roaster. Everybody stand up and give him a round of applause because he can't stand up for himself, but he's wanting to get taller. Whoa. Let's not put on that kind of a show for the audience. Let's... All right. For those of you who don't know, Brandon has been coming to the gym for 4 years, and he just qualified to compete at the Adaptive CrossFit Games by Wheelwad. Brandon, I'm going to hand you the mic, and then, yeah, you just got to get taller than good.
I specifically wanted to do this so I could look down on Kevin. And also, this was unplanned, his shirt. What does your shirt say, Kevin? If you don't squat, you're a bad person. I'm wearing a shirt that says be a good person. So I don't know. It's kind of ironic. But I've been working on my stand-up comedy, obviously. But this might sound more of like a roast against me and more of like compliments to Kevin, but I know that that's his worst form of accepting anything. So I thought it would be the worst punishment that he could have. He's equipped to handle insults. He's not equipped to handle compliments. So here we go. Kevin works for CrossFit headquarters, as Nate mentioned, which makes him a cult leader. And yes, I'm now part of that cult. Thanks to Kevin. He's a great cult leader in that respect. I had never done CrossFit before I met Kevin. Now it's like at least 85% of my personality. But I owe a lot to Kevin. He taught me a lot of things. For example, he taught me how to do my first floor transfer. I couldn't do a floor transfer before I started coming to the gym here with Kevin. Gave me a lot of confidence in my everyday life, which really translated to not having any limits when I was out in everyday life. But the really messed up thing he didn't teach me is how to do a floor transfer while you're drunk. So when I was flipping over my wheelchair on wedding dance floors and couldn't get back in, I blame Kevin for that. Many people don't know how Kevin got the job with CrossFit headquarters. He was actually a diversity hire. Because he's a ginger. The disability was just a bonus. The beard is obviously super red. In the summer, the hair gets a little bit more like strawberry blonde. At least what's left of it. But speaking of strawberry, Kevin's favorite Pop-Tart is the strawberry unfrosted or cherry unfrosted, whatever. Yeah. But either way, unfrosted Pop-Tart, that's unforgivable. With butter. Yeah, right? Yeah, but I owe a lot to Kevin. Mainly, I have him to credit for my body dysmorphia. No matter how strong I get, Kevin's always stronger. No matter how big my biceps get, Kevin's are always bigger. He does this thing in the gym, like before workouts, where he's like, "Oh, I think you got a chance at beating me on this workout. I haven't worked out in like a week," and proceeds to smoke me by miles on every single workout. But that's fine. I tend to get a big head, not literally a big head like Kevin's, but figuratively. But I am really glad that Kevin's not competing anymore. But I'm not worried about Kevin in a competition because I know exactly how to take him down. As Amy alluded to, his diet, the things he does eat, is very small. The things he can't eat is very, very long. So all you have to do, if you're in a competition with Kevin, sneak over to his food, sprinkle a little gluten on there, maybe a little oil dropped in his water, and he'll be shitting his brains out for the rest of the day. So yeah, people always ask me when I talk about CrossFit, because again, that's most of my personality now, if my gym is only adaptive athletes. And I usually say that everyone that goes here definitely has something wrong with them. Catching strays out there. But no, Watchtower is super welcoming from the start. Some CrossFit gyms can be super intimidating. Maybe the coaching is questionable. Places like Method, Nathan. You'll hear from Nathan later. Kevin and I are both paraplegics, if you did not know this. So I'd like to give you a little bit of history, some lessons here. So we have loss of 2 limbs, our legs. Like quadriplegics, that's impairment of 4 limbs, 4 quad, 4. Put Kevin and I together, you get a pair of plegics. Doesn't add up to a quadriplegic. And then you also have people that have what I like to call spinal paper cuts, so AKA Grant. If anybody knows Grant, he's an incomplete injury, so he just barely got nicked. He can still stand up, which is cheating. But on top of Kevin's paralysis, he also has a brain injury, if you didn't know that. Or just a really excuse to not listen to Shannon after 7 p.m. But Kevin's also a huge nerd, but there's different layers to Kevin's nerdery. If nerdery is a word, it is now. You have comic book Kevin. I actually went to go see Wolverine and Deadpool with him last night. He geeks out on comic books. Watchtower is a reference to comic books. He is exercise science nerd Kevin. If you ever get into him talking about any type of exercise and how it works, I'm like, I don't care. Just tell me how to lift. There's also the nerd Kevin that likes reading books. I think Lord of the Rings is at the top of his list. And okay, hold on. This is not even a roast, but I do have a problem with people that say I read 69 books this year, when all they did was listen to it on the audiobook. Audiobooks are not reading. Audiobooks are listening. We have a word for that in the English language. I listen to like 3 podcasts a day. I don't read the podcasts. All right, Zach? But anyways, sorry to go on that tangent. Where was I? So yeah, basically Kevin's a nerd. Don't let the meaty biceps fool you. But to land this plane, when COVID was at its peak, Kevin wasn't traveling as much, and neither was I at that time. And also Kevin didn't believe in COVID, so I got to hang out with him a lot more. But we really got to know each other well. And we would be sitting in the same room, obviously sitting, not standing. And we would talk about how our paths crossed. Like if neither of us were paralyzed, would we have ever met each other? If one of us, would we be in the same room having this conversation, having this whiskey together? And you can have that debate till you're red in the face like Kevin is naturally. But Kevin, I don't care how it happened. I'm glad our paths collided.
That was great. I'm glad you used the standing frame. It's oh, you're stuck. Someone has to come push you on the seat. Oh man. There we go. Now it's going.
See, I do all the legwork.
I am actually really proud of Brandon. It's really good for him. Really proud of him for making it to the Adaptive CrossFit Games this year and the Wheel Games previously, taking 3rd last year. I am more proud of myself for retiring so he could do that. What some of you guys don't know is actually Brandon works with his church actually to help with the youth ministry. So like it's I feel really bad for those kids to have to grow up emotionally stable having mentored under Brandon. That's horrible. Boom, got you son of a gun.
Everybody keeps making fun of Kevin and the sun, but you know, his greatest weakness, I think, is still stairs. That's still the worst. We go on walks together, and he's all, you know, showing off because we're going downhill, and he can outpace me. And then it quickly turns into a workout of the day when I have to do a sled drag of 230 pounds, one-handed. He said a slim 225. Yeah. All right. That totally counts. All right. Well, our next roaster is going to join us a little later. Chase is not on yet. So we're going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to introduce our super great friend, Lisa. She is backstage waiting to roast Kevin. If you don't know, Lisa Gall is the social media and tech guru of Wheelwad in general. She is the one that gave me the idea that it was absolutely possible to do this roast this way, because in my head it sounded like magic. And so now I claim wizard status because of Lisa Gall. So we're going to bring her to the stage, and I'm going to remove one of these. Lisa, welcome. Lisa got a new hairdo. It looks so nice.
Thanks. Clearly I didn't do a good enough job teaching you how to do this, though.
Ouch.
I don't know if that says enough about my abilities or yours.
Maybe both. Maybe both.
I mean, to be fair, I did send you a text message like hours ago to tell you to put yourself on the stage.
Yes, but we all know how adaptive athletes are with their timetables and being on schedule.
Timetables, among other things.
Yes. It's not an adaptive event if you don't have a bajillion questions and then you start late and somebody in the background is going, "Why didn't you read the instructions?" Not that I've ever dealt with that before.
Yeah, something I'm learning since meeting the two of you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
welcome.
much for that.
Absolutely.
So I, like Amy, am very, very new to knowing Kevin. I actually met Shannon a year before I met Kevin. And one of the things that I have to say that stood out to me initially to Kevin is a little bit how short-tempered he can be, but also funny at the same time. And that's one of the things that I really like about Kevin is I can slice and dice somebody up with my words and they would never even know it. And Kevin is very obvious about it. And I spend a lot of time trying to filter and diffuse Kevin before he gets out to the world. And he definitely brings some stress to my life. And I actually blame Mark Harris for recruiting me into this circus of yours. So Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure knowing you, getting to know you. But like Brandon says, one of the things that you don't deal well with is accepting compliments. So I wrestled with roasting you with compliments or really, really roasting you. So I chose to maybe pepper you with a little of both. So here we go. I don't know if anyone has ever seen it, but there is a documentary about Kevin. I do this little thing when I meet people. It's just part of what I do. I love puzzles. I love learning about people. And most of my friends call me the magician because I can find anything on the internet. And there is this really cheesy documentary about Kevin. Kevin has a really incredible story. And if you've never seen the documentary, I would recommend that you watch it. It's called Ogar, Will of Steel. But seriously, Kevin, between us, it's really cheesy. It's like watching Rocky, but instead of inspirational training montages, you find yourself rolling your eyes at every cliche of inspirationalness throughout this documentary. It took him several tries in this documentary to become, as Brandon says, CrossFit's diversity hire. He wanted nothing more in this world than to become a CrossFit trainer. He's basically like the Rudy of CrossFit, except with more grunts and fewer happy endings.
Hey, you don't know.
Kevin's in a wheelchair, but built like a gorilla from the waist up. He's so jacked, he makes The Rock look like a pebble. With those red hair and freckles, he's basically like an Irish Hulk. If you see him coming, you better hope he's in a good mood, or he'll roll you over and then bench press your sorry ass at the same time. Speaking of gorillas, Kevin, our leathery friend, Steve North, says hello. Let's talk about Steve North for a second, though. Steve affectionately calls Kevin the ginger-back gorilla. But have you seen Steve? This guy wears slides with socks everywhere he goes. Steve is listening. And Steve, I just want you to know that you look like a dad who's given up on life, but still thinks he's a fitness influencer. How John Woolley is next, I think, or almost next. The meme lord who got kicked off of Instagram. He has started over, and now I think he's something like Woolley Memeth. He's back to spreading memes like herpes at a frat party. And his podcast, Constantly Varied Conversations, should be more like Constantly Varied Ways to Get Banned on Meta. And our friend Chase, who was supposed to be here already and is fashionably late, I have a bit of a bone to pick with him. We asked Chase to be a commentator at our San Antonio CrossFit Adaptive Games, but he'd rather be at Wodapalooza in California. I guess Texas isn't good enough for Chase, or he just doesn't like cripples, or he's just afraid of wheelchairs. Good luck in California, where the biggest challenge is finding gluten-free vegan lattes, Chase. I hope you have fun. When I met Kevin, another thing that was blatantly honest is Kevin has a very sharp sense of humor, sharper than his biceps. I'm sure you've heard him refer to disabled athletes as cripple, which is pretty bold coming from a guy who looks like he could be an extra in 300 from the waist up. Kevin's so jovial and smart-ass, he could probably make the Grim Reaper laugh. If sarcasm were a sport, Kevin, you would get a gold medal and a Wheaties box cover. But you can't eat that. And let's not forget Kevin's gym, CrossFit Watchtower. This place is like a torture chamber for people who pay to suffer. If you can survive a workout with Kevin, you can survive anything. His coaching style is a mix of tough love and let's see if you can do it better than the guy in the wheelchair. Spoiler alert, you cannot. Kevin always wins. All jokes aside, Kevin, you are one of the most genuine people I know, a really great friend. You're caring, godly, and they're in a heartbeat for anyone, no matter what. even some of those bratty athletes who we will leave nameless. Kevin, when life gets tough, just roll with it. I'll remember always one of the very first meetings that I had with Wheelwad. I hadn't yet met you in person, and I was just earning my spot in Wheelwad, and I don't remember what I was talking about. And I said, sometimes you just have to take it and run with it. And you, without skipping a beat, says, or you just have to roll with it, Lisa. I have never felt more like a jerk than I did that day. So thanks for making me feel like an asshole. Here's to you, Kevin, the angriest, funniest, and most inspiring ginger on wheels.
Thanks, Lisa.
Lisa, I know you don't like compliments either, which is why the first joke I have for you is I was gonna make a joke about you being the second best redhead in Wheelwad, but my parents told me not to be a liar. You're very pretty. Good job.
Thanks.
Secondly, Lisa I get accused of being a workaholic, work too much, don't take time off. And Lisa, how does it feel to have a crippling work ethic that allows us to do everything we're doing with the adaptive group? And if we weren't doing that and having that same work ethic, we wouldn't be able to do any of it. Boom, take that.
This is true. Oh, you guys, look who showed up. It's Chase.
Hey, welcome to the fun, Chase. He's fashionably late.
He missed my roast of Chase.
We can't hear you, Chase. This is your punishment for being late. So you got to write all those things down and share it with us later. One comment that I do need to read off that those in the audience missed is when I commented on Lisa's hair, John Willie said that he also did his hair for this. And we just appreciate your effort, sir. There it is. We appreciate that effort. Yeah, Lisa really takes care of the adaptive athletes. She both calms us down and makes everything we want to say sound a little bit more PC, which is why she only had a say in the tech part of this roast and not the content. Except she came in guns blazing. So proud of you, Lisa. All right. Next up is Nathan Morris. No, Chase is in timeout. He's being punished. We're going to have Nathan Morris. He did want me to present some pictures where...
I just have a couple of cool pictures of the... Hi, for those of you who don't know me.
Nobody can hear you, babe.
Hi. I know some of you guys, but there's a lot of faces in here I don't know. And if you don't know me, I am Kevin's former gay lover. There's a lot of people in the world that think that, and I've got not pictures to prove it, but I have a couple pictures of very early on after Kevin's accident. He had to travel a lot, and one of the photos, actually like the first one I sent Shannon, if you pop that up, this is us going to the airport for the 2014 CrossFit Games, and I think Kevin was about 150 pounds in this picture because it was less than 6 months after his accident, or about 6 months after his accident. I know in here you can't see it that well, but at that point, his neck was about as thick as his legs are now, for reference. Tiny. You can laugh, it's fine. Cool. Well, yeah, so I wanted to show that picture. How that story kind of came from is at the CrossFit Games, the first year we went, there was a ton of people Kevin was injured 6 months ago. All of a sudden he went from 300 Instagram followers to 30,000 Instagram followers. and everybody wanted to get a picture with him. And so I was taking a lot of pictures. And the following year, actually, we ran into a couple who the guy didn't get a picture with him the year before. And the lady came up to me and she's like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to see you two still together. I know how big of a strain something like this can be on a relationship." And I was like, "Oh, wait." And I didn't correct her because I thought it was funnier this way. So there's a lot of people out there that still think that. So I've been with Kevin through a lot of highs and lows, both like 6'3" and now like 4'5". So I've got a lot of stories. I also just, through the years, I just started brain dumping a lot of stuff into a Google Doc, so get ready. Kevin, do you remember the time CrossFit made a documentary about your life and only your parents watched it? And Lisa, apparently, yeah. Shannon, Tommy, seriously, thank you for putting this on. This is actually really cool. Happy to be a part of it. I met Shannon right when Kevin met Shannon. This is up in Canada. It was really great. I got to see Shannon fall for Kevin and multiple other times. That's a vestibular system joke. You can laugh about that. I wouldn't say Shannon, like, balance isn't her strength. There are a few people in here who, like, I've just known for a long time. Like, Eli has been a really good friend for a long time. And Eli, as a group, we took a vote. It's us versus you, skins versus shirts. Chase Ingram is also here this evening. Chase, when it comes to deadlifting, your back is about as effective as Kevin's.
He has a bad back.
You got a bad back. Fantastic voice, bad back. And then it's funny. I hope I don't get canceled, making fun of an able-bodied person. But speaking of canceled, John Woolley is up next. He's Make WODs Great. He got canceled, guys, on the internet. You can laugh about that. But yeah, John, I've never met you. Respect your game, though. And then I know we're closing out tonight with John Brown. For those of you who don't know, John's a part of Level 1 seminar staff. John, actually, I don't have anything mean to say about John. I learned a lot during his weekend seminar, and it made me a better coach. So what's funny is he probably hated that more than actually being burned. So therein lies the humor. So, all right, back to Kevin. Kevin, a grown man shitting their pants is supposed to be funny, and you ruined that for us. You make this huge deal about people taking the handicap stall, and you never even make it. When I got here tonight, I parked in the handicap spot. How does it feel knowing that my calves are bigger than yours and I don't even try? Yeah. So over the years, there's been a lot of, like I said, there are a lot of highs and lows. There's been times where I know we joke about bowel movements and stuff like that. One time, something happened. I won't get into all the details, but I saw Kevin's penis. And I'm going to tell everybody here tonight what I told you then. Good job. Kevin, you have no ass. Your back just splits into two. If I had to describe Kevin's body type, I'd say it just looks like a piece of pizza. His business card says CrossFit, but his body says Planet Fitness. Your beard makes you look like you tried to storm the Capitol but couldn't get up the steps. I would describe Kevin's body type as marionette puppet. I would describe Kevin's body type as a little lad who loves berries and cream. I would describe Kevin's body type as a sunburnt Humpty Dumpty. I would describe Kevin's body type as a chunky Muppet. I I would describe, this is my favorite one. This is like in the shower. I was thinking about these and had to write them down. I was thinking about you in the shower. That goes back to that whole gay relationship thing earlier. I would describe Kevin's body type as a slice of watermelon held up by bendy straws. I would describe Kevin's body type as a guy with a concealed carry who tells everybody about it. Kevin is known for having a short temper. You are somehow always on your phone, but you never answer text messages. That one hit close to home. You're crying, dude. This is awesome. This is great. Kevin loves Superman. I think we all know that. If you were a superhero, your arch nemesis would be stairs, sand, slight hills, and very tall grass. You know those videos of people showing their dogs like different parts of their house? Yeah. Like that's you with any upstairs ever. Kevin likes to take his shirt off, but nobody asked for it. This one, I actually had some help on this one. When you think of Kevin, you think of a man in a wheelchair yelling at a dog running circles around him. Neither one is listening to each other and both are peeing. Alec, thank you for that one. When Kevin was injured, I think Mother Nature felt bad and gave him a trophy. Sorry, mispronounced atrophy. I used to not drink coffee, and so actually, CrossFit Watchtower, it was just you and me. Like it was Kevin and I, one would coach the morning, one would coach the evenings, and that's how it worked for the first couple months. And so we'd always work out in the middle of the day, and so lots of times Kevin would come in and say like, hey, do you want to go get coffee? And I didn't drink coffee, but I would just go with him for a ride to get out of the gym for a little bit. And so we go through the drive-through at Starbucks, and I was like, no, I'm good. And then one day I realized they have cake pops. And so I told him I wanted a cake pop so that I got to watch him order, I'll have a grande, whatever, super manly coffee and a cake pop. And then I'd make him watch me suck on a cake pop. I don't even like cake. I don't know if you knew that. When Kevin was still in recovery, he would kind of take like field trips to the gym and come work out with us. We would just take his phone and throw it on the floor and watch him struggle to pick it up. That's just really mean, but it was really funny to watch. Also, this is maybe actually for somebody in here. I am currently logged into Kevin's HBO Max account. I have a profile. There's Kevin, there's Nathan, but somebody else is logged into, is it you, Eli? All right. Fun fact, Eli watches a lot of HGTV. He's currently watching Step by Step reruns. He started watching Dune. He only got about 10 minutes into it and then stopped. So it's just sitting in the continue watching lineup and it's messing up my algorithm. You have never beaten me at Settlers of Catan, and you never will, and that brings me great joy. All right, I'm gonna end this with, when Kevin was, after the accident and all that, court case, all that kind of stuff, me and our friend Ryan ended up going out to Orange County to be character witnesses in the court case. And I reached out to James. He couldn't get, basically, there's some really incriminating stuff that was asked while I was on the stand. So, little preface, the lawyer told us, he's like, hey, we're gonna ask you some questions about how has the accident affected Kevin. And he's like, I'm not gonna tell you exactly what it is, but like, I'm gonna ask you how it affected him physically, mentally, sexually, spiritually, like just, there's like a standard list they have to ask. And this is like verbatim what the lawyer asked me while I'm sitting under oath on the stand. You have a strong relationship with Mr. Ogar. Has his injury in any way affected or has had an effect sexually? And I said, yes. Wait, what? The way he asked it made it sound like Kevin and I were in a relationship on the record. And so he's like, I'm sorry. Has he told you that it's affected him? So yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to tell that story. Kevin, you're a real stand-up guy, and I love you.
Wow.
Nathan, those jokes and those shorts are not helping the gay thing. Just throwing that out there. I did almost get Nathan fired from my injury. The first Nathan came to visit me at the hospital, and he went back to work, and his boss cornered him to say, sorry to hear about your friend. Sound like a real stand-up guy. And without missing a beat, Nathan's first response was, not anymore. And that almost cost him a job. So there's fun with that. Nathan, knock, knock.
Who's there?
You, just like you always are when I need you to be there. So suck it, you bunch of butts.
That was good. Yeah, I remember meeting Nathan, and my first thought was, I was like, oh, well, this is a package deal. Let me wrap my head around this. Thanks, Nathan. We are going to revisit the HBO thing, though, because that's some new information we gleaned tonight.
I kept it. You guys ruined everything.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, let's keep this show rolling. So the next guest we have is Chase Ingram, and I feel like he has, some big shoes to fill, maybe some tight jorts. Same. Let me bring you to the stage, Chase, and then you can take it away. If I can figure out technology. Where's Lisa when you need her?
All right. You guys hear me?
There we go. Yep.
Okay.
You're on.
Oh, man. Well, Nate, that joke was hilarious. The only thing smaller than Kevin's legs is actually Nate's package in those jorts. So that was hilarious. But seriously, my apologies for being late. In solidarity with Kevin today, I decided to do everything from the seated position and realized my office was on the second floor of my house. So I didn't really time that out as well up the steps. But I'm here to roast my good friend, Kevin Ogar. This is really just a test to see if I am uncancelable. So we'll see how this goes by the end of this. And the only reason why I decided to do this roast is because I heard Kevin is really good at rolling with things. So that's, it's it's going to get worse. Don't worry, everyone. But I'm not going to take a bunch of a lot of your time. My segment will be really short, about as short as Kevin is now. I warn you, these jokes are going to be about as good as Kevin snatching at the OC throwdown. Just let that one settle in for a little bit. All right, buckle up. When I was writing these jokes, I knew that Kevin wasn't going to be exactly sitting there laughing his ass off. Not exactly because my jokes are not funny, but just the prerequisite of actually having an ass is the tough part. But I don't know if you guys noticed, but Kevin is indeed a ginger. And as we all know, as far as souls go, Kevin might have a hard time getting into the pearly gates one day. And that actually has nothing to do with the gingerness. Kevin is a beautiful soul. He's a kind soul. He's a gentle soul. I just heard that there's a big flight of stairs up to the gates, and they're just not ADA compliant yet. So that might be tough. When I had to break that news to Kevin, it actually crippled him again. And just lastly, one of my favorite moments with Kevin was at a seminar. He challenged everyone to a race. And I don't know if you guys know this about Kevin, but he's got some wheels on him. So it was pretty hard to beat. I thought that joke was much like Kevin, that joke didn't really have any legs. My apologies. Oh, wow, that joke landed way better than that barbell did. All right. I want to be short and sweet. Kevin, truth be told, you are one of the greatest people I know. I love you to death. If there's anything I can do, the answer is always yes, if it's within my power. You've been a wonderful friend, and it's been an honor working beside you all these years, buddy. And thanks for allowing me to come here and see if I'll still be working for CrossFit on Monday.
Oh, Chase. I know why Chase actually wanted to do this roast. I know he's upset because my gym's still open and his is not. Through no fault of his own, he was just bad at it. Chase, one thing you gotta know about Chase is that he's a very honest guy. He always tells the truth, even when it's a bad idea or when we're trying to get off a meeting and he won't let us because he has something to say about something. Thanks, Chase. You've only wasted a little bit of my time in my life. But Chase, what do you call a Texas stereotype who is a very nice guy and I can count on when I need him?
I don't know.
You don't know this one?
I don't know this one.
Spencer Nix. I'm joking. It's Chase. Of course, I mean Chase. Thanks, Chase.
Oh, that was good. Thanks for having me. Sorry I was late. And
It's okay.
screw you and Nate for mixing up my dumbbells that one night, overnight in my gym.
Oh, we'll forgive you your tardiness. I mean, some of those jokes were below the belt, just like that barbell.
Barbell's above the belt.
Yeah.
That was good. That's what they're for. Thank you, guys. Love you, Kevin. Thank you, Shannon.
Bye, Chase. Oh, that was good. They keep on rolling. The jokes keep on rolling. Our final roaster. No. Brown bailed on you.
Oh, that's
He said he actually doesn't really like you that much, and so yeah, that makes sense. We got John Woolley. I'm going to do another shameless plug really quick. Please, if you have laughed at all this evening, please donate to Team Some Assembly Required. You can find them at teamsar.org/donate. This nonprofit helps fund adaptive athletes' expenses to compete. So shameless plug right there. Thank you. And John, let me bring you up to the stage. Man, that hair looks good.
Doesn't it? You like it?
So good.
Worked on this for hours. Not gonna lie. I don't know what I was expecting coming on here tonight. I absolutely was not expecting a story about Kevin's penis from a guy wearing jorts so tight I could tell what religion he is. That definitely made my night. I will say I get asked to do things like this all the time, and I almost always turn them down. And the reason being, it's really tough when you run a meme page. People just expect you to be funny all the time, and I don't do stand up. But then I thought, neither does Kevin, so that works out for me. It was a huge honor, though, to be asked to roast my least favorite adaptive athlete. So I'm excited to be here. So actually, Shannon reached out to me about this, and I think the first thing I asked her was, can I get canceled for making fun of somebody that's, got a disability? And she told me, no, it's okay. Everyone's used to that beard by now, so it shouldn't be a problem. I actually like the beard, Kevin. You kind of look like a ginger Harambe, except Harambe was universally loved.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon. Harambe. I know a lot of you guys online have probably never met Kevin or been around him, and so you're just getting introduced to him for the first time, and you don't even know how funny he is in person, and that's because he isn't. But what he lacks in humor, he also lacks in pigmentation. So Kevin is so white, his wheelchair sunburns. Kevin is so white, his wheelchair has a horn that plays Dixie.
Don't give him any ideas.
Yeah. And Kevin is so white, he's legally required to live in Colorado. And that's not even a joke. That's just real life. It's a real thing. You can't be mad at these jokes, Kevin, just because God gave you that mutant ginger gene. You're like Professor X, but with like a really heavy bench press. I will say I've actually loved getting to know Kevin and his journey. He's been on the podcast 2 or 3 times at this point, and anytime I've needed to reach out to him to ask a question about what's going on, either within CrossFit or the adaptive community, he's always taken the time to chat with me, and it feels like we have this special kinship because we have a lot of things in common. Like, as an example, he was permanently disabled at a CrossFit competition, and my meme page, Make WODs Great Again, was permanently disabled by Instagram. So we're basically twins, basically the same. I will say, I was excited though when I heard, CrossFit announced that they were finally going to break the adaptive athlete competition away from the quote unquote traditional games and turn it over to somebody that was more equipped and smarter than themselves to run it. And then typical for CrossFit, they changed their mind and went with Kevin, but we still love him. I will say, Kevin, I'm impressed at how well you fit into CrossFit's decision making. I mean, we even see it tonight. You're already following their footsteps, so to speak, by not inviting Sean Woodland, but replacing him with Chase Ingram. So I think that consistency is really, really key. I'm also excited to hear that WillWOD's going to be live streaming. I think that's very cool, and I can't wait to see how much farther away you set up that static camera this year. On the plus side, there are going to be more divisions, so that's great. And if I had to guess, the division group's not even going to notice, so it'll work out. I will say, Kevin, in all sincerity, jokes aside, there's absolutely no one in this community that better exemplifies what WillWOD is all about than you. You're always positive. One thing I love about you is you don't allow room for whining or complaining from anyone. And you just do a really fantastic job educating others in this community. And I think honestly, this community just needs more people like you and yourself. And if for nothing more, because it makes my pasty ass look tan. So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, John, that was good. I am actually really excited you got to come on tonight. I know you have a busy schedule of getting blocked by people in CrossFit and getting canceled by Instagram and every other platform. So yep. I'm glad you weren't sitting up you had time because you weren't setting up a new page or a new meme page with some other weird name about elephants or Trump or something. I do appreciate John a lot. He does a lot of work to keep the community up to date with stories before he gets all the information and then gives it to them. And then I get phone calls later from people. It's my favorite thing. But he really does care about the community. I can't deny that. This man, he owns a gym. He runs a gym. He cares about coaching. He really does, and I really do appreciate John Woolley. The best thing is I find it really funny. Your last name is Woolley, and you could not have less hair. Like, grow a mustache or a beard or something with that last name. Like, if my last name was Ogar, and it sounds like ogre, and I was a tiny little dude, it'd be weird. That's what you're doing to me right now. So, like, beard or mustache or something, John. I appreciate you coming on.
Anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Thanks for coming. We are going to conclude this evening with a few shameless plugs. One, as you see on your screen right now, is Team Some Assembly Required. There is a QR code right there for your convenience. Please feel free to donate. Another shameless plug is the Adaptive CrossFit Games by WillWOD. Is happening September 19th through the 22nd. If you want to volunteer, come cheer, get a vacation in San Antonio, there's your chance. We got tickets at the website on the screen. But yeah, I think I'll just close this out. Really appreciating everybody who showed up. I'll stay on my knees so that he feels tall, because that's what a wife does. You gotta make your man feel good sometimes. But honestly, it's been so cool seeing everybody who loves Kevin enough to make fun of him. That is a special kind of love language that I know Kevin has. And as our 5-year anniversary comes up, I've been working on a few of my vows. We're thinking of doing, a vow renewal, and I vow to always keep your Christmas presents on the top shelf because you'll never find them. And I vow as a female to stop being mad that we can share pants because we wear the same size. That was something I had to get over when we got married. And I think I'm finally okay with that. And ultimately, you know, I think most ladies grow up dreaming of being a Disney princess, you know? And sometimes you're Cinderella, and sometimes you get Prince Charming, and sometimes you get Quasimodo. And it's just always the hand you're dealt. But
Where's my sanctuary?
But ultimately, I've always identified with Belle. But after my stroke, I think I'm the beast, Nigel is the beauty, and Kevin's that reanimated armchair threatened by the curse. So he's just kind of along for the show. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for being here in person. Shout out to Outlaw Kitchen Barbecue, who sponsored the catering. Please take home some food. We know Kevin will eat it, and he doesn't need it. The weight limit on his chair is already being threatened. So please take the food. Thank you for joining online. We appreciate you guys, and hopefully this is just the first annual Kevin Ogar Roast.